All right, so the last couple lessons have dealt with simplifying variable expressions and using both methods, combining like terms and the distributive property. The last assignment that I gave you incorporated both all together. Um, I'll be honest, either those of you who submitted it didn't do very well, or some people just didn't submit it at all. So I'm not sure if there was just a lot of confusion. So I thought it'd be best today to kind of go through, discuss both methods again, the combining like terms, distributive property, and then kind of work through that assignment together. So just kind of a quick recap. So combining like terms, um, this would be an expression where terms, again, are just simple parts of an expression. So I could say something like negative 2x plus, plus 7 minus 4x minus 2, something like that. Again, it's an expression, it's got numbers, variables, operations, but no equal signs. So combining like terms, again, simplifying means that we're shortening, putting together things that we can. So as far as what we could put together, hopefully you're able to see there that negative 2x and negative 4x are like terms. They both have an x variable to the same degree. So that's kind of that first bracket there. Terms must have the exact same variables and exponents in order to put them together. When we do so, we're looking at the coefficients, the numbers out front. So this would be a negative 2 minus 4 more, negative 2 plus negative 4, however you want to look at it. But in the end, either way should give you an answer of negative 6x. Again, I'm putting those two together, negative 2x and negative 4x. Those are like terms, so we can put them together to get negative 6x. The other two terms that we see in our problem are regular integers, plus 7 minus 2. So again, those are common numbers. If they don't have a variable, that also means they're common and they're alike, so we can put them together. So 7 minus 2 gives us negative 5. So again, terms must have the exact same variables and exponents for us to put them together. And then you add or subtract the coefficients, those big numbers, the large numbers out front of variables of like terms to put them together, or simply just add those constants, add those regular integer numbers together to get the other portion. From here, one of the things that I saw people repeatedly doing is taking it a step further and putting these two together. These are not like terms, guys. Negative 6x has the variable x, which is not a like term with negative 5. So you would actually stop right here. Negative 6x minus 5 is the most simplified variable expression we can have there. The distributive property, that is the other method that we took a look at. Distributive properties often, not always, but it's often signified by parentheses. So it's something like if we had, for example, here, we've got a parenthesis, like a 2 parenthesis, negative 4x plus 3. Okay, where we've got a number out front, directly out front of that parenthesis, and we multiply by every term inside. And we stop when the parentheses end. So even if there would happen to be a plus 7 back here, we would not multiply it with the 7. You stop when the parentheses stop. All right, so kind of taking it back there, we would do two simple multiplication problems and put them together. So the first one there, 2 times negative 4x gives, negative 4x gives us negative 8x. Then when I go to do the second distributive or the second multiplication, 2 times a positive 3, and we remembered, hopefully you remember me talking about you always take the sign in front. When we multiply 2 times a positive 3, 2 times 3 gives us a positive 6, so plus 6. And again, this is all the farther I can go, guys. You would not put these two together because they're not like terms. All right, so let's take a look at that assignment that we had to complete. So again, if you didn't do it, what I want you to do is just kind of write down the work as we go through it on a separate sheet of paper. Now, you don't have to write out the title. You don't have to write out the directions for part 1. What you simply can do for me is on a piece of paper, just kind of quickly number for me. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and in part 1 here, we're looking at what method would we use to simplify this expression. What is it, a combining like terms problem, or is it the distributive property? So taking a look at number 1, we have y plus 3x minus 7, y. you should notice here that we've got like terms. We would be able to, if we were actually going to solve through it, we'd be able to put these two terms together because they both have a y. There's no parentheses indicating any kind of distributing or multiplying going on. So for this first one, and again, right on your paper, you'd put number 1 is a combining like terms problem. Number 2, if we take a look at this problem, hopefully you see those parentheses. Those are big indication for you. And I'm hoping that you're tempted to draw those arrows. If you are, that is a distributive property type of problem. So again, number 2 is the distributive property. Taking a look at number 3, another one of those hopefully tempted to draw the arrows and start multiplying. That's another indication of distributive property. Number 4 here, we have 4x minus 5x plus parenthesis negative 9x parenthesis. Now you might see these parentheses down here, but if I look at the function of them, it is not indicating multiplication, right? I don't have a number right out front. I have a sign out front, a plus sign. So that wouldn't multiply. It's just a plus a negative 9x. So if I look again, do I have any kind of like terms that I could put together? You sure do. You have x's that you can put together. The positive 4x and the negative 9x, and also negative 5x. They're actually all like terms, so you can put them all together just down to one term. So again, for this one, I simply want you to write number 4 on your paper, combining like terms. It's always healthy to know and be able to look at a problem and know what tool to pull out of your toolbox. All right, so part 2 is kind of putting it into action and taking a look at using both of these methods to solve and simplify the expression. So if we take a look at this first one, if you remember from the lesson, we always use the distributive property first because it's the operation of multiplication, right? And if you're combining like terms, you're basically adding or subtracting those coefficients. So multiplication always comes before addition and subtraction. So we're going to look for distributive property first. And again, those are most easily identified by those parentheses. So if I look at example 1, this is the portion that we're going to do first. Plus a is just kind of hanging out and waiting for us to get to it. So we're not quite ready for it yet. So solving through the distributive property, 2 times 4a is 8a. 2 times a positive 1 is a plus 2. And then my plus a just simply comes on down, plus a. And I kind of give you hopefully a helpful hint there, and I put your plus sign for you. Moving down through there, looking for like terms, what would I put together? My a values, those are alike. So it's a 1a. So again, if you don't have a number in front of a letter, you know that it's 1. 8 plus 1 is 9a. And then this time that plus 2, it's just a regular integer. It has nothing to do with my a, so I just write it down and I stop there. I don't put everything together and say 11a. All right, taking a look at number 2. Okay, if you are distributing, hopefully you should see where we start, this distributive portion right here. So we're going to kind of go through 2 times 3 is 6, 3 times negative 1, c is negative 3c, and then minus c just comes along, minus c. Putting our like terms together, hopefully you can see that we've got variables c that we can put together. Remember, this is like a 1. So 6 is going to just drop straight down. Minus 3 minus 1 more. Negative 3 minus 1 more gives us a negative 4. Put our c with it. Okay, the next one. Here's my distributive property here on the back end. It might be helpful for you to kind of put your 2 up front and ignore it. We talked about that. If that's more comfortable for you, by all means, go ahead. This 6r, I'm just going to drop straight down. We're not quite ready for it yet. I'm going to drop it down. Now I'm ready for my multiplying. 2 times r is 2r. 2 times 4 is positive 8. And from here, looking at like terms, 6r and 2r I can put together to make 8r. And that positive 8 is a regular number. Cannot combine with anything else, so we're just going to bring it on down. Again, cannot go any farther than this, guys. You don't want to be tempted to say 8 and 8, 16, 16r, because again, they're not like terms. All right, let me jump back here real quick. I'm so sorry I forgot to mention, hopefully when you wrote it down in your paper, this is 5, 6, 7. Okay, moving on, if you're writing them down, 8, 9, and 10. And again, you can stop this video, go back, pause it, whatever speed you need to here.
All right, so distributive property is the first thing that I'm looking for in this problem, and it is right here. Now you may ask yourself, why it's just simple out front. Why is that a distributive property? We did talk about how negatives do impact or change all the signs of the second portion. So you do want to distribute that negative sign. So my 15m, I'm not ready for it. It's just going to come down. Oh. Then we're ready to distribute. So -1 times m, -m, -1 times -4, flips my sign to a positive. Then from here, looking for like terms to combine, I have 15m minus 1m. So 15 minus 1 is 14m. And then that plus 4, again, not a like term with my m values, so it's just going to drop right down. Okay, the next portion here, distributive properties first. So we're going to go ahead and distribute that -6 out front, -6v, then -6 times a +1 gives a -6 answer. So again, be careful with those signs. And then my plus v just drops on down, plus v. We weren't ready for it quite yet, so I'm just bringing it down. Then we're looking for like terms to combine. Our v values we can put together. And again, this is a 1v. So -6 plus 1, -5v. And then -6 again is a constant, not a like term, so I just bring it down for my final simplified answer. Okay, one last one, guys, here for review. Hopefully this is starting to make a little bit more sense and you're getting more comfortable with it. Here's our distributive property here that we're going to do first. So we're going to take a look at multiplying 6 by 5. 6 times 5 is 30. 6 times a -1 gives us a -6n. And then we're just going to rewrite our plus 2n down here. And I tried to help you by giving you some signs. From here, you should realize your variables, again, happen to be like term values. So my 30 is just going to drop down. Then -6n plus 2n gives you an answer of -4n. All right, so again, whether there was a little bit of confusion, maybe you just didn't do it. Again, I was hopeful that, by writing these out and working out through these 10 problems together, you're more familiar and more comfortable. So following this, just submit your picture of your work that you wrote out for me for credit. One more thing, guys. So tomorrow I have 6 more problems posted for you to try on your own. Very similar to this. You're going to have to look at it, combine like terms, or use a distributive property. And there are also 2 that incorporate both methods like we just went through here on these last couple problems. So good luck. Reach out if you need more help tomorrow on the extension assignment. But again, today you're going to submit a picture of this work for your credit for the lesson. And then again, tomorrow on Friday, look for that new assignment to complete.